All right, so something that people talk about a lot in the AA community is what is it that makes the difference between a really fast run and a fast but not quite as fast run? Like, what is the difference between these like top 3 runs in the AA category and people who are getting like low 3 hour runs, high 2 hour runs, that sort of thing? And a lot of the time, these discussions come down to a fundamental question of like, is mechanics more important or is decision making more important? And a lot of people will tell you a lot of different things. Some people think mechanics are like 50-50. A lot of people think that mechanics don't really matter at all. So this is kind of like an ongoing discussion, but I feel like most of the time there's not really any numbers to back anything up. So the goal of this isn't to say one thing or another. You're free to take whatever the conclusion you want from this. But basically what we did is I've made a script over here. And this script analyzes AA VODs for the amount of time that somebody's in a Shulker box. And the point of this is to basically just determine how much time different people are spending doing inventory management. It's really easy to just do a Shulker box. It's kind of annoying to do like every single inventory. And the idea is that by doing Shulker box analysis, by seeing how long people are spending Shulker boxes, you can kind of intuit, generally speaking, how fast people are at inventory management in general, and determine if there's a difference mechanically between maybe like the top players, the top runs, and like not quite as good runs, if there's like, you know, how much time loss is going on there, kind of make a guess at that. And that's what we did. So yesterday, I wrote this script, and then a few of us in AA Accord went through a bunch of top runs. So we went through 15 different runs. It's kind of a pain because you have to download the VOD, so it's a little slow. We went through these 15 runs, and these are the results. So basically, we have some really good runs, like Kush's 230 Thunderless, Feinberg's 215 Thunderless, and as you can see, these runs spend around 3 to 4 minutes in Shulker boxes. But you can definitely see the difference here, where Feinberg is getting consistently 3.5 minute Shulker box splits, I guess you could say. Whereas some of these other runs that are also pretty fast, but not quite as fast, are getting more into like the 4 or 5 minute range, which is a pretty sizable difference for something that is, generally speaking, pure time loss. So yeah, these are the results. You're free to look at them, and I'll link the spreadsheet in the description. I don't know if we're going to do more runs, but you can do this yourself. This is just a GitHub repository, and it'll be linked in the description. And there's some instructions for how to do this yourself if you want to analyze your own VOD, that sort of thing. It's a bit of a pain, but we'll go over that in a second. First, just to answer a couple questions that I know will probably come up. One thing that people have asked is this actually a good indicator of skill? Essentially, is this a good indicator of like mechanical skill and like the time difference of mechanics? So for example, maybe Kush is overlapping a lot of these Shulker box opens with breeding cats or taming cats, that sort of thing. So he's not losing as much time to this. And the answer is basically, in my opinion, yes, it still matters. The amount of time you spend in a Shulker box is the amount of time you spend in the Shulker box. So at the end of the day, like if you're trying to overlap things, the more things you overlap, the better. So if you're doing more things in your Shulker box, when overlapping them, you should be doing them like less than the rest of the run. So yeah, technically speaking, maybe this is like more overlapped than like a Feinberg run or that sort of thing. But I don't personally think so. The second question that has arisen a couple times is, should this number be scaled by the length of the run? So as you can see here, we're literally just getting the number of open frames of the Shulker box throughout the run. So this isn't scaled at all based on the duration of the run. This isn't like, we're not doing any division. This isn't like a percentage. This is purely like this run spends 4 minutes in Shulker boxes. This run spends 8 minutes in Shulker boxes, that sort of thing. And in my opinion, no. So the reason why that I don't think it matters to scale it with the duration of the run is essentially that if you think about an all advancements run, you have 80 advancements to do. You have a certain number of things you have to do in Shulker boxes. And in theory, there's nothing stopping like a 7-hour run from spending the same amount of time in Shulker boxes as Feinberg does. Yeah, you're going to spend a little bit more time. Maybe you need to get like, I don't know, more elytras out of your Shulker boxes to repair your elytra because it's such a long run, that sort of thing. But generally speaking, like the vast majority of your inventory operations should be static regardless of the length of the run. Yeah, it's true that if your run is more spaced out, you might have to access your Shulker box more often, but you're doing fewer things than the Shulker box accesses, so you should be able to make them faster. So I think this is like pretty accurate, and I don't think it really makes sense to scale it with the duration of the run. And a good example of kind of why that is you can look at this fraud folder run, which is a 325, and we spent 7 minutes in Shulker boxes in this run. And meanwhile, Feinberg and Mads, in their joint keyboard mouse run, which Pac-Man analyzed, spends 8 minutes and 72 seconds. in shulker boxes across a 5-hour run. So this run is not quite twice as long, but it is significantly longer. This is an extra 2 hours, and they only spend an extra 1 minute and 50 seconds. This is not proportional. And yeah, you can say like, okay, well, it's a skill difference, but it's also just, there's only so much you have to do in shulker boxes. I would be pretty surprised to see anybody who knows AA and is playing AA, regardless of how long their runs are, spending more than like 10 minutes in a shulker box in a run, regardless of if it's like a 5-hour run or whatever. And the other question that has come up a couple times is, what is the accuracy and like how does this script actually work? Which I should probably explain, and then we'll get to like how you can run the script, that sort of thing. So basically, script is really simple. We're gonna go to this output directory. So essentially, you get a video that you want to analyze, and then you want to take a screenshot of just the subset of that video, just a frame of that video. Well, not a screenshot. You want to take a frame capture, which is different than a screenshot. That's important, but it's also in the README. You want to get an image that looks like this. So here we have Kush's. So Kush, for some reason, if we go to output, Kush for some reason has this really spaced out tracker, so it covers most of the text. And the way that this script works is that it detects the text of the shulker box, this text up here, right? So this is kind of annoying, but it's actually not that bad. So what we did is we basically got a capture of just the KE, and then that's what we scan for. So if we look in resources, we have just the KE, and we have that image. And this image has the exact same aspect ratio, resolution sort of thing as the full frame, which means that we can search directly for this image within the frame. And we have the same thing here. This is like a Cropo run, one of mine, Doi Pingu, that sort of thing. One is necessary, probably like a different one is necessary for every single run. So there's instructions for how to do this in the README. But yeah, so you can see here, this one here, we see that it's open, then it's closed. Yeah, it's closed, open, closed, open, closed, open, closed. But it's not perfectly accurate. So over here, this one is considered closed because Kush is mousing over these blocks of gold, and the tooltip is covering over the KE that we're searching for to determine if the shulker box is open. So it's not 100% accurate, but most of the time, if you're looking at the output of the script, you'll see that like you're losing like maybe 5 frames or 10 frames. So maybe there's like a variance of like 100 frames over the course of a run or something like that, but that's only going to be a few seconds. It's not a big deal. And also, we always detect if the shulker box is closed. We don't necessarily always detect when the shulker box is open, but we always detect if the shulker box is closed, which means that nobody here is spending, none of these are overestimates. They're purely underestimates. This is like this is a minimum of the amount of time that was spent in a shulker box on these seeds. Pretty close to the actual value probably, but it is at worst a minimum. And yeah, I think that's about it. So we're just going to take a look at the script real quick so that I can explain how this actually works and how you can use it. And that's about it for this video. So in the script, basically what we do is we get the arguments that you provide to it. We need a video path. We need the name of the shulker image, so the path to that. And then we need a name as well. So what you're going to write is probably something like Python analyze.py, the MP4, the PNG. So for example, for this fine one, it is, oh my goodness, I don't even have the Feinberg one anymore. That's fine. Don't worry about it. Like the shulker images that we were just looking at. The, where is it? Like this, right? So that's going to be your second argument, is the shulker text that you're searching for. And then you're going to give it a name because we need a unique name. As you can see in our output, this name is what we use to basically store all of the extra data. And if you want, you can analyze this data yourself. So you can do like how long on average you're opening a shulker box for, that sort of thing. The script doesn't do that for you. At the end of the script running, it'll just output the pure number of frames that the shulker box is open, and the pure number of frames that the shulker box is closed. But all of the data is available in this file here. So you're free to use that if you want for more analysis. And yeah, so that's about it. This is pretty fun, very interesting. As you can see, there's quite the disparity in the amount of time people spend in shulker boxes. This doesn't include chest accesses. This doesn't include furnace accesses, anything like that. This is purely shulker boxes. So people are probably spending close to like 6-7 minutes, even on the fastest runs, in inventories, not including the actual inventory, of course, which is presumably a lot longer. Something else that would be interesting would be to do crafting table. I think that would be kind of an interesting one to do. And you can do that if you want. You can just take a screenshot of the crafting table text instead of the shulker box text, and it should probably just work fine. You might have to adjust some parameters in the script, but yeah, that's all doable as well with us. One other interesting thing is we did analyze Oscar's 122 SSG run. So this is the 122 thunderless world record that Oscar got. In this run, Oscar spends 2.68 minutes. Sorry, that's not 68 seconds. In shulker boxes. And we think that this is probably kind of like a pretty safe minimum for the amount of time you can possibly spend in a shulker box throughout an AA run. Because, of course, Oscar in this run gets 78 advancements, and Feinberg in this run gets 78 advancements, and Thunderstorming in this run gets 80 advancements. And so you can kind of go and say, okay, these are all like the same number of advancements. This is the minimum amount of time you can spend in shulker boxes to get that many advancements, essentially, across a normal AA run. Anyways, that's for now. Hope this was interesting. This will be in the description, so you're free to take a look and analyze the data further if you want. And you're also free to run the script yourself. There's instructions in README. So have a nice day.